Limiting randomness through repetition. The bliss of rewarded practice. Video games, at their core, are about mastery. Whether it's nailing a perfect combo, navigating a treacherous platforming section, or outsmarting an opponent, the joy of gaming often comes from the process of learning, practicing, and perfecting. While some games lean into randomness or novelty to create fleeting moments of excitement, others embrace repetition as a core mechanic, rewarding players for their dedication and skill. This approach, where repetition is not a chore but a deeply satisfying loop, is something that certain developers, particularly Japanese giants like Nintendo and indie publishers like Devolver Digital, have mastered. These games don't just feel rewarding to play, they look incredible to others watching, creating a spectacle of skill that resonates with audiences. In contrast, games that rely heavily on randomness or player knowledge to create radically different experiences often feel hollow, as their novelty comes with an expiration date. This exploration dives into why repetition-driven gameplay loops are so compelling, how Nintendo and Devolver Digital excel in this space, and touches on the speedrunning community's dynamics, including the unfortunate hate directed at autistic and transgender gamers. The power of repetition in game design. Repetition in video games is often misunderstood. For some, it evokes images of grinding or monotony, but when done right, repetition is the backbone of a rewarding gameplay loop. It's about creating systems where practice leads to tangible improvement, where each attempt refines the player's understanding and skill. This is where the absolute bliss of well-rewarded practice comes into play. Games that limit randomness and focus on consistent mechanics allow players to feel a sense of agency and growth. Every failure is a lesson, every success a milestone. The shackles of repetition, far from being restrictive, become a comforting framework where players can test their limits and push beyond them. This design philosophy contrasts sharply with games that prioritize randomness or novelty. Randomness can create thrilling moments. Think of the unpredictable loot drops in a game like Destiny or the procedurally generated levels in Dead Cells. But these experiences often rely on external factors rather than player skill. Novelty, while exciting at first, has an expiration date. A game that constantly shifts its rules or relies on player knowledge to unlock new experiences, like obscure puzzle games or narrative-driven titles with hidden paths, can feel hollow once the surprise wears off. In contrast, a well-thought-out gameplay loop, where the challenge is mastering a consistent set of mechanics, offers longevity. Players return not for the promise of something new, but for the satisfaction of getting better. Nintendo, the masters of rewarding repetition. Nintendo, one of the most iconic Japanese game developers and publishers, has built its legacy on games that reward repetition. From Super Mario Bros. To The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Nintendo's titles are designed with tight, predictable mechanics that encourage players to refine their skills through practice. The brilliance of Nintendo's approach lies in how it balances accessibility with depth, making games that are easy to pick up but difficult to master. Take Super Mario Odyssey as an example. The game's core mechanics, jumping, running, and capturing enemies with Cappy, are simple enough for anyone to grasp. Yet the game's 800-plus power moons demand precision, creativity, and mastery. Certain challenges, like the darker side of the moon, require players to chain together complex platforming sequences without checkpoints. Each attempt teaches the player something new. The exact timing of a dive, the angle of a wall jump, or the rhythm of an enemy's attack pattern. The reward isn't just the power moon itself, but the feeling of having conquered a challenge through skill and perseverance. Watching a skilled player navigate these sections is mesmerizing. Every move looks deliberate, almost choreographed, turning the game into a performance for spectators. Nintendo's Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is another prime example. The fighting game thrives on repetition, with players practicing combos, movement techniques, and matchup knowledge to outplay opponents. The game's competitive scene showcases how rewarding this repetition can be. A top player like MKLeo, known for his mastery of characters like Joker and Byleth, makes the game look effortless, stringing together combos and reads that leave audiences in awe. Yet behind every flashy play is hours of practice, labbing out specific scenarios, and refining muscle memory. Nintendo's design ensures that the game's depth comes from mastering its systems, not from random chance or gimmicks. Even Nintendo's more casual titles, like Animal Crossing, New Horizons, reward repetition in subtle ways. While not a skill-based game, the daily routine of checking in on villagers, collecting resources, and building your island creates a comforting loop. The game's charm lies in its predictability. Players know what to expect, and the joy comes from seeing incremental progress over time. This consistency makes Animal Crossing a cultural phenomenon, with players sharing their island designs online, creating a spectacle for others to admire. Nintendo's games also shine in their visual and mechanical polish, making repetition visually appealing. Whether it's the vibrant colors of Splatoon 3 or the tactile feel of Metroid Dread's movement, these games are designed to be watched as much as played. Speedrunners, for instance, showcase the beauty of Nintendo's design through their optimized runs, turning games like Super Mario 64 into a ballet of precise inputs. The lack of randomness in these games ensures that every run is a testament to skill, not luck, making them a favorite among speedrunning communities. Devolver Digital, indie champions of tight gameplay loops. While Nintendo represents the pinnacle of big-budget Japanese game design, Devolver Digital has carved out a niche as a publisher of indie games that rival Nintendo's mastery of repetition. Devolver's catalog is filled with titles that prioritize tight mechanics, rewarding practice, and creating visually striking experiences that captivate both players and spectators. Unlike larger publishers like Electronic Arts, EA, which often focus on broad accessible experiences with heavy monetization, Devolver's games lean into niche, skill-based gameplay that feels deeply satisfying. Hotline Miami, one of Devolver's flagship titles, is a perfect example. This top-down action game is brutal in its difficulty, with players dying repeatedly as they navigate rooms filled with enemies. Yet each death is a learning opportunity. Players memorize enemy placements, experiment with weapon choices, and perfect their timing to clear levels in seconds. The game's retro aesthetic and pulsing soundtrack make every successful run feel like a cinematic triumph, and watching a skilled player blaze through a level is hypnotic. The game's lack of randomness ensures that every victory is earned through practice, not chance. Similarly, Katana Zero rewards repetition with its precise, time-manipulating combat. Players must master dodging, slashing, and rewinding time to survive encounters, with each level demanding near-perfect execution. The game's pixel art visuals and neo-noir aesthetic make it a visual treat, and speedrunners like Dryox have turned it into a showcase of skill, chaining together flawless combos that look impossible to the untrained eye. Devolver's decision to publish games like Katana Zero shows their commitment to titles that prioritize gameplay depth over fleeting novelty. Another standout is Enter the Gungeon, a roguelike shooter that balances repetition with variety. While the game features procedurally generated dungeons, its core mechanics, dodging, shooting, and managing resources are consistent. Players improve by learning enemy patterns, mastering dodge rolls, and optimizing their loadouts. The game's cartoonish art style and absurd humor make it a joy to watch, especially in the hands of a skilled player navigating bullet hell chaos. Unlike purely random roguelikes, Enter the Gungeon ensures that player skill is the primary factor in success, making every run a testament to practice. Devolver's games also resonate with the indie ethos of rewarding out-of-the-box thinking within a structured framework. Titles like The Messenger blend retro platforming with modern twists, encouraging players to experiment with movement techniques while mastering precise jumps and attacks. The result is a gameplay loop that feels fresh yet familiar, rewarding dedication while allowing for creative expression. This balance is what makes Devolver's games so appealing to both players and spectators, as they showcase skill in a way that feels organic and earned. EA, a mixed bag of monetization and repetition. In contrast to Nintendo and Devolver, Electronic Arts, EA, takes a different approach to game design, often prioritizing accessibility and monetization over deep, repetition-driven gameplay loops. While EA has published some excellent titles, their focus on live service models and microtransactions can dilute the sense of mastery that comes from repetition. Games like FIFA and Madden rely on annual releases with incremental updates, where repetition often feels like a grind for new cosmetics or roster changes, rather than a journey towards skill mastery. However, EA has had moments of brilliance when it embraces repetition. Apex Legends, a free-to-play battle royale, rewards players for mastering movement mechanics, weapon handling, and team coordination. Unlike Nintendo's predictable systems, Apex introduces some randomness through loot and map rotations, but the core loop of positioning, aiming, and communicating remains consistent. Watching professional players like Imperial HAL dominate matches is a testament to how repetition can create spectacle, with perfectly timed slides and headshots that feel choreographed. That said, EA's reliance on monetization can undermine the purity of repetition. Games like Star Wars Battlefront 2 at launch were criticized for pay-to-win mechanics, where progression felt tied to spending rather than skill. This approach contrasts with Nintendo and Devolver, whose games rarely gate progress behind paywalls. EA's focus on broad appeal often leads to experiences that prioritize accessibility over depth, making their games less rewarding for players seeking the bliss of practice. The speedrunning community, a celebration of repetition. The speedrunning community embodies the love for repetition, turning games into tests of endurance, precision, and creativity. Speedrunners take games like Super Mario 64, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, or Hotline Miami and push their mechanics to the limit, finding ways to shave seconds off their runs through relentless practice. Events like Games Done Quick showcase the beauty of this dedication, with runners like ZFG Ocarina of Time or Bubsy Super Mario Sunshine performing feats that seem superhuman. These runs are not just about finishing a game quickly, They're about mastering every frame, every input, and every glitch, creating a performance that captivates audiences. Speedrunning thrives on games with consistent mechanics, as randomness can disrupt optimized routes. Nintendo's titles, with their tight controls and predictable physics, are staples of the speedrunning scene. Super Mario 64's 16-star run, for example, requires players to execute precise jumps and glitches, like the infamous backwards long jump, with no room for error. Devolver's games, like Hotline Miami or Katana Zero, are also popular among speedrunners for their unforgiving yet fair mechanics, where every death teaches a lesson. Unfortunately, the speedrunning community is not immune to toxicity. Some autistic and transgender gamers have faced harassment, often from a vocal minority who gatekeep the community or target individuals for their identities. For example, trans speedrunner Proto-Magical Girl, known for runs of Celeste, a game by Maddie Thorson, who is also trans, has spoken about receiving hate for her identity despite her skill and contributions to the community. Similarly, autistic runners like Cheese, a prominent Super Mario 64 speedrunner, have faced ableist comments questioning their focus or behavior. This hate is not representative of the broader speedrunning community, which is largely inclusive and celebrates skill above all else, but it highlights the challenges marginalized gamers face in niche spaces. Why novelty falls short? Games that rely on novelty or player knowledge often struggle to maintain long-term engagement. Take the Stanley Parable, a game built on subverting expectations. Its branching narratives and meta-commentary are brilliant on a first playthrough, but once the surprises are exhausted, there's little incentive to return. Similarly, puzzle games like Fez rely on cryptic knowledge and exploration, which can feel rewarding initially but lack the replayability of a skill-based game. These experiences are like fireworks, beautiful but fleeting. In contrast, games like Super Mario Odyssey or Hotline Miami offer near-infinite replayability because their depth lies in mastery, not discovery. The shackles of repetition become a canvas for self-expression, where players can push the boundaries of what's possible within a consistent rule set. This is why speedrunners gravitate toward these games. They offer a stable foundation for creativity, unlike random or knowledge-based games where outcomes feel like gambling. Out-of-the-box thinking within repetition. One of the paradoxes of repetition-driven games is that they still reward out-of-the-box thinking. Nintendo and Devolver excel at creating systems where creativity thrives within constraints. In Breath of the Wild, players can solve shrines in countless ways, from using physics to launch objects to exploiting glitches for speedruns. Yet the game's consistent mechanics ensure that these solutions feel earned, not random. Similarly, Enter the Gungeon encourages players to experiment with synergies between weapons and items, but success still hinges on mastering the core dodge-and-shoot loop. This balance is what makes these games so rewarding. Out-of-the-box thinking in a random or knowledge-based game often feels like guessing or exploiting poorly designed systems. In contrast, Nintendo and Devolver's games make creative solutions feel like a natural extension of their mechanics, rewarding both practice and ingenuity. Conclusion: the enduring appeal of repetition. The bliss of well-rewarded practice lies in the journey from novice to master. Nintendo and Devolver Digital have mastered this art, creating games that feel incredible to play and watch. Their focus on tight, consistent mechanics ensures that repetition is a joy, not a burden, offering players a sense of agency and spectators a visual feast. While EA's titles can occasionally capture this magic, their reliance on monetization and accessibility often dilutes the experience. The speedrunning community exemplifies the love for repetition, though it must continue to address toxicity toward marginalized gamers. Ultimately, games that limit randomness and embrace repetition create experiences that stand the test of time, proving that the shackles we love are the ones that set us free. Single-player supremacy. Why personal mastery trumps multiplayer randomness? The purest form of the bliss of well-rewarded practice often manifests in single-player gaming, where the player's journey from novice to master is unburdened by external variables. In these isolated digital worlds, every success and every failure is a direct consequence of the player's own actions, decisions, and most importantly, their dedication to practice. This singular focus on personal agency creates a profound sense of accomplishment that multiplayer experiences, by their very nature, struggle to replicate. When you conquer a challenging boss in Sekiro Shadows Die twice after dozens of attempts, it's a victory earned entirely by your improved parrying, dodging, and understanding of attack patterns. There's no teammate to carry you, no lag to blame, and no opponent whose unexpected tactics threw you off. The feedback loop is immediate and clear. Your practice directly translated into skill, and your skill led to triumph. This direct correlation makes each successful repetition profoundly satisfying. The shackles of single-player repetition are, in essence, self-imposed training weights that lead to immense personal strength. Contrast this with the inherent randomness and external factors that permeate most multiplayer games. While multiplayer offers the thrill of competition and social interaction, it also introduces a myriad of variables beyond the player's control that can drastically impact outcomes. Losing a match in a team-based shooter like Valorant can be due to your own mistakes, but just as often, it can be attributed to teammate performance, a critical missed shot, a poor strategic decision, or simply a lack of coordination from your teammates can lead to a loss, regardless of your individual skill. This introduces a sense of frustration when your personal mastery is undermined by factors completely outside your influence. Opponent randomness, unpredictability. While skilled opponents are part of the challenge, their individual playstyles, unexpected strategies, or even lucky shots can lead to outcomes that feel less about your superior skill and more about unpredictable elements. In a fighting game, a single lucky read can win a round, even if your overall execution was superior. Technical issues. This is perhaps the most frustrating aspect of multiplayer randomness. Server location directly impacts latency, with higher ping leading to noticeable delays in input and an often unfair disadvantage. A player located far from the server might experience a consistent 100 milliseconds ping, making precise action significantly harder compared to someone with 20 milliseconds. Internet availability and stability are also critical. A momentary disconnect, a sudden spike in lag, or even consistent packet loss can ruin a game, turning a potential victory into a frustrating defeat. These factors are entirely out of the player's hands and can negate hours of practice. Matchmaking algorithms. Many multiplayer games use algorithms to pair players, which can sometimes lead to unbalanced teams or uneven skill distribution, further detaching the outcome from individual player merit. Game updates and meta shifts. Multiplayer games are constantly evolving with patches and updates. While these keep the game fresh, they also introduce significant changes to character abilities, weapon balancing, or game mechanics. A player who has mastered a specific character or strategy might find their hard-earned skills suddenly less effective due to a patch, forcing them to relearn or adapt, which can feel like their previous practice has been devalued. In single-player games, your journey of mastery is a clear, uninterrupted path. When you fail, it's almost always a learning experience that directly informs your next attempt. The punishment for failure is an opportunity to refine your technique, not an arbitrary consequence of external forces. This controlled environment fosters a deeper, more consistent sense of progress. For instance, in a rhythm game like Hyper Rush Core, missing a beat is purely your own misstep, and repeating the song allows you to immediately identify and correct your timing. The game doesn't suddenly introduce latency or an unpredictable opponent to throw you off. Consider the replayability argument. While multiplayer games offer endless new experiences to different opponents, these often lack the depth of refinement that single player provides. The novelty of a new opponent's playstyle can be fleeting, and the core challenge often revolves around adapting to external unpredictability rather than internalizing complex mechanics. In contrast, returning to a meticulously designed single-player level, like a difficult challenge stage in Cuphead Gold, is about perfecting your own dance to its movements. Every successful parry, every precisely timed dash, feels earned through personal dedication. The joy comes not from the external variance, but from the internal growth and mastery of the game systems. This isn't to say multiplayer lacks merit. The camaraderie of playing with friends, the thrill of competitive victory, and the dynamic nature of human opponents are undeniably appealing. However, when the conversation shifts to the absolute bliss of well-rewarded practice and the enduring satisfaction of limiting randomness through repetition, single-player gaming consistently holds the edge. It's in the quiet, focused moments of personal struggle and eventual triumph that the true, unadulterated joy of mastery shines brightest, unclouded by the unpredictable winds of external factors that buffet multiplayer experiences.
This will do nicely.